Before we begin the program, I have a few reminders. We've got exits in the back, and we've got exits in the front. And please do silence your cell phones or whatever gadgets you have that beep. The session of Nat Talks is made possible by presenting sponsors the Downing Family Foundation and by media partner KPBS. So, sorry, I'm going to introduce the next introducer, who will then introduce Dexter. So bear with me, because it's important. It has been my honor and my true pleasure to work alongside Travis Chemnitz, Executive Director of the San Diego Bird Alliance, for the past 6, maybe 7 years now. I had the privilege of leading the search committee that hired Travis in 2020, and wow, what a phenomenal decision that was. Under his leadership, the organization has grown with clarity, vision, and a deep commitment to both science and community. Please welcome Travis.
I know after she introduces me, I always get a hug. Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Travis Chemnitz, Executive Director of San Diego Bird Alliance. How we all doing? Yeah. Any lifers added to the list today? What you got?
White-throated sparrow for the county. And I've been leading trips for like 7 years.
Right? The joy just keeps coming. Anybody else? Woo! Mountain Bluebird. Might be a theme of the night. Yes, today and yesterday, this is day 3 already of the festival, and it is fantastic. It is beautiful. But it's not just about those birds and the extraordinary landscapes that we are able to experience during the Bird Festival. It is about you, our community of loving, passionate individuals getting out there, and also the culture and connections we are creating to make all feel welcome, to all enjoy what we have here. So thank you for being a part of it, and thank you for bringing that joy throughout this festival. It's been fantastic. I want to thank Sony. They're sponsoring our Bird Festival as well as tonight's keynote, so super excited on that front. Some of you have been up since dawn, and now fast forward all we are to here. So the great thing about tonight is that this speaker will keep you awake. That's right. Yes, and it's my honor to introduce Dexter Patterson, also known as the Wisco Birder. That's right. Bird. Bird is a word for this guy. You guys probably recognize him. He's become one of the most energizing and exciting voices in modern birding today. You probably have heard, "You ready? Let's go." Right? See? It's already catching on. Millions of views on his Instagram reels and his posts. Already getting so many people engaged, but really truly focused on getting new people engaged, creating access to birding. He's an educator, a photographer, an author, and co-founder of BIPOC Birding Club of Wisconsin, committed to ensuring that birding is truly for all. Dexter also co-hosts Bird Joy podcast with his main man, Jason Hall. Where are you at? Yep. Amazing. Definitely tune in. Author of Birds of the Great Lakes. You can find it in the bookstore, the amazing bookstore that's here. Dexter will be around to talk to you a little bit about that book as well afterwards. And really, it's about birding, storytelling, and community. So generally speaking, somebody that's truly inspiring the next generation to get out there and ensuring that we're breaking down barriers and making sure the birding is for all. So without further ado, let's bring the bird joy. Dexter.
Appreciate you. Let's go. Look, they gave me this cool water bottle. Let me see something. It's delicious. All right. Oh. What's up, San Diego? How y'all feeling? As they said, my name is Dexter Patterson. I am the co-founder of the BIPOC Birding Club of Wisconsin, co-host of the Bird Joy podcast. I am also a faculty member at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where I teach science communication. So my job is to teach the future scientists and researchers of the world how to share their work with the world via media. So really focus on trying to bridge that gap between the public and science. So that's a big thing that I do. I am also the director of Sciences and Climate at the Wisconsin Academy of Sciences, Arts, and Letters. So I'm a big nerd, basically. I'm just a nerd that likes birds. So hey, let that bird nerd flag fly, folks. I get this question a lot. How many of you get this question a lot? Why do you like birds? Why birds? There are so many reasons, right? But I tell people it really falls into these three buckets. All right, these three buckets right here are game changers. So the first one is the boosting of the mental health. Birds make you feel better, right? As a scientist, the research is clear. Just being outside makes you feel better. You add on bird calls, it's even more. The research shows just hearing bird sounds lowers cortisol levels, lowers depression symptoms, anxiety symptoms, just being outside, right? And listening to birds. So that's number one for me. They make me happy, right? The next one is environmental awareness. This is a big one because I think once you start to realize where you fit in the world, your relationship with every other living being, every other creature, and their habitats, it really does kind of humble you and put you in this space of understanding where you fit in the world. You're just an itty bitty piece to this beautiful puzzle we call life. So that next one is environmental awareness. And the last one, I want everybody in here, look left and right real quick. Look around, right? You see how I did that? Community and connection, right? So I tell people all the time, some of the most amazing people I've ever met on this planet, I met through birding, right? Like my homie Jason Hall right here, right? But some of my best friends I've met birding. Some of the nicest people I've ever met, I've met through birding. How many people in here have met somebody on a trail that is their friend now? You see that? Right? So this is real, right? So that community and that connection, I tell people that all the time. Birding isn't about the birds, it's about the community. They're like, what, you the bird guy? What you mean it's not about the birds? It's not. It's about the community. So these three, right? I tell people, if you focus just on these three things, birds will change your life. There's a lot waiting out there for you. All right. I was talking to my friend up here at the top earlier, before the event. I'm like sitting at the top and I'm like soaking it. I'm aura farming at the top, right? And I'm talking to my friend up there, Peter, right? I remembered his name too. And Peter asked me, he's like, what's your favorite bird? And I'm like, you gotta wait. I always tell people picking a favorite bird is like picking a favorite kid, and I have 4. Here's all my daughters. Put your hands up in the air. These are my daughters. I have 4 of them. Look at them. Help. Help. All girls. Help. Proud bird nerd and girl dad, for sure. But I tell people all the time, it's so hard. Like picking a favorite bird is so hard. But if you force me, I'm gonna pick the osprey. And the reason I picked the osprey, because this bird, folks, literally changed my life in a minute. So this is like right when social media videos started taking off. And I'm scrolling, probably at the time doom scrolling, oh, the world sucks, the world sucks, the world sucks, the world sucks. What is this? I had no clue what I was looking at the time. I want you to remember this. I had no clue what I was looking at. All I saw was this bird flying from in the sky, higher than I ever seen a bird, period, flying down towards the water faster than I've ever seen anything fly. Like literally, like I was like, what is happening here? And as it gets closer and closer and closer to the water, I start freaking out. Because I'm like, this bird is crazy. Why are you flying towards the water? What is wrong with you? And then all of a sudden, folks, it gets closer and closer. I'm getting anxious. I'm kind of an anxious person. I'm getting a little anxious. I'm getting a little nervous for this little dude. Because I'm like, something's wrong with him. He has a bird disease. So, well, why is he doing this? Bird's supposed to stay in the sky or in a tree, safe. So as it gets closer and closer and closer to the water, all of a sudden, it locks its talons. Woo. I was like, something about to go down. I don't know what is about to happen, but something is about to go down. Meet me at the water. It's about to go down. Osprey was on something. All of a sudden, it hits the water. I'm freaking out. At this point, folks, the bird is completely submerged. I wish this wasn't see-through so I could show you how I was feeling. It was gone. Completely gone. I am really freaking out. I'm like, this bird is going to drown. This bird is literally going to drown, and why am I watching it? What is wrong with you, Dexter? Something is wrong with you. Something is seriously wrong with you. But y'all know I was so stuck. You know that little emoji on your phone where the head blows up? That was me. I tell Apple need to run my check because that was me. They stole my expression of watching the osprey go under the water. And I'm freaking out. I'm like, what is wrong with this bird? Why is it under the water? And all of a sudden, its little head pokes up. And I was like, it's not dead. It's not dead. And it starts looking left. And it starts looking right. And it's looking around. And I learned later. I didn't know what I was looking at the time, but I'm like, it's looking for a bald eagle. Because the bald eagle is the #1 osprey hater in the world. Next time you see a bald eagle, tell him stop being a hater. So he's looking, and all of a sudden these wings come out, folks. So as it's flying down, it's like tight. It's like a little jet, you know. You don't see these wings like this. And these wings come out of the water, and it starts flapping its wings and flapping its wings and flapping its wings. And then it flies off like this, holding that huge fish. And then what really sealed the deal, like the cherry on top, the little homie went like this. I said, that's it. What is going on? I said, birds can do that. They can do that. I said, I love birds. Where is this thing? I ain't never seen nothing like this in my life. It was truly miraculous. I thought I saw something that nobody ever seen in the world. How is this possible? How is this possible? I was like, that day forward, I said, first of all, what is this thing? I need to learn about this. I found out it was an osprey. So as an educator, proud lifelong learner, shout out to the people that like to read. I start doing research and I find out, oh, it's called an osprey, AKA the fish hawk. That was even cooler. I was like, that's why that sucker went in the sky to the ground and took the fish. I was like, oh my God, it's a fish hawk. And then I started doing more research and I find out they live in Wisconsin. Shout out to my Wisconsinite over here. So I said, they live in Wisconsin? So I started looking at all the people around me. I was like, y'all ain't told me this thing exists? I'm so disappointed in you. Then I find out that they nest at a park 10 minutes from my house. And then I find out that they nest on top of the cellular tower at the post office across the street from the Woodman's grocery store that I go to. The whole time. My whole life, these things have existed. My whole life was a lie. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I said, the whole time? You've been living around me the whole time and having little osprey babies? And I didn't know? You're 5 minutes from my house? We got problems. So that day forward, folks, I said, first of all, I'm going to learn everything about this bird possible and every other one. That was the moment. That was the moment that sparked me. Now, I will say, don't tell the yellow-headed blackbird that I said the osprey is my favorite, right? Because I feel like the homies might get jealous. And I'm pretty good at birds. If anybody ever gone birding with me, they're like, oh, right? You get a bird, you get a bird, you get a bird. Mountain bluebird, right? I dress like a mountain bluebird today. But that was the moment, folks. And I started saying, okay, I need to see birds. What is birding? What's a birder? I had no clue, right? I had no clue. My grandpa was a birder. I'll talk a little bit about grandpa. But my grandpa was a birder, so he always had feeders up and stuff like that. So I always liked birds. I'd be like, bluebird, redbird, blackbird, big white bird. I didn't care what they were, but I always liked them. I thought they were cool. I always wanted to fly. Like as a little kid, I always wanted to fly. How many wanted to fly when you were little? See? Oh, I was like, birds are awesome. But as I started wanting to see more birds, I started doing more research, right? And I started trying to find organizations that get you outside. And I started going to a lot of these birding organizations on some of these field trips, and every single time I would go, I was typically the only person of color there, usually the youngest, and I was like looking around, and I'm like, am I supposed to like birds? Like, all I see is old white people. No offense, okay? But I'm just saying, in my moment, I'm like looking around, and I don't see anybody that looks like me at the event or leading it. So this started really, really like messing with my head a little bit, because I really like birds. I was like, I need to learn as much as possible. I was fired up. As you can see, I get excited. I was fired up. But this started to make me question a lot of different things. And the main thing was like, wow, like, are there groups out there where black people bird? Brown people? Indigenous folks? Like, where y'all at? Right? I'm like, this ain't okay. My mom raised me to be a part of the solution. You're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. So I started thinking about what can I do, and even as a new birder, right? When I was thinking about this, I had been birding, folks, for over a decade before I even started telling people I like birds. I wasn't taking photos, really. I wasn't doing videos. I wasn't telling nobody how much I loved the osprey. I wasn't doing none of that because of the lack of representation that I was seeing as I was getting going as a birder. And eventually enough was enough, right? Like I was like, all right, I want to go out birding and I want to bring some of the homies with me. What can I do? I can create a club where everybody feels welcome, right? When I first started birding, only 6% of black Americans identified as a birder. 8% of Hispanic and Latino Americans. That's a problem, right? I look at all the efforts that I've been seeing over the time, and I'm seeing some progress. We now see over a quarter of black Americans say that they watch birds at home or other places. That's progress. Not enough, right? Over 30% of Hispanic Americans, a third of Hispanic Americans say they watch birds at home or somewhere else. And this is a 2025 study. So we're seeing progress. We're seeing progress. And shout out to my Asian homies, over 50%, right? So we're growing, right? Birding is growing. The net has been cast. There's more people being interested in these birds, right? Because there's a lot of benefits out there for us. And there's something about getting people of all walks of life together to go birding. This morning, we went birding for 8 hours. Yeah, it was fantastic, and it felt like America. Like I looked around, I said, old people, young people, everybody of different shades, and didn't matter who you love, it didn't matter of any of that. Everybody was there for Bird Joy. One of the people that came made these friendship bracelets for everybody, and I'm still wearing it. It says Bird Joy, and it's got a blue heart on there and a bird, and it's Mountain Bluebird blue. I like that even more. But that creating a community piece here, we created a community in 8 hours. It was fantastic. We had somebody that brought his autistic son with us today. Are you here? Oh, there he is! Hey! His dad, at the end, it was so cool. We were with the SoCal Bird Nerds, and they did a reflection based off Tamma Watt's book. And we went around and asked everybody, like, how'd you feel before you were going? How'd you feel during it? How'd you feel after? Dad cried, telling a story about how he was nervous about finding a space where his autistic son would be accepted. And he was accepted as like family member, like a community in those hours we were all together, right? Those are those moments that stick with me, right? Those are the moments where people are like, dude, how do you do all this? It's those type of moments, right? He made me cry. So I was like, I might cry again. Social justice was the other piece of this. In the 2020 era, 2020, there was a lot of unrest sweeping across our country. George Floyd was murdered. Ahmaud Arbery was murdered. Breonna Taylor murdered, right? Christian Cooper. How many of you know of Christian Cooper? Birder, right? Targeted, Central Park ramble. They threatened his life. That call to the police was to threaten his life. And all he was doing was birding. And it created a social justice movement in the outdoor spaces like I had never seen before. And it was led by a group of black scientists called Black AF in STEM. Shout out. They created what was then called the first ever Black Birders Week, y'all. Woo, I'm telling you, this was like an Osprey moment for me. Because I'm going to tell you, for a long time, I thought I was the only black birder on the planet. I'm just out here birding by myself. And then all of a sudden, Black Birders Week happened, and I was like, what? We literally out here everywhere. Homies over there, over there, over there, over there, over there, over there, over there. We've been outside ever since, showing up, starting clubs, growing the birding community, and changing birding for the better. Ever since. We started our club. Jason started In Color Birding Club in Philadelphia. We had homies in Canada, started the Special Bird Service. We started seeing all of these birding clubs dedicated to getting more black and brown and indigenous folks outside together with allies that want to see a more inclusive birding community. And it's still happening. I tell people all the time, we are having a moment. Birding is kind of cool right now. Look at me. I want to change what people think a birder is, right? It's all of us. Birding is for everyone. These birds, they love us. They don't care what your color you are. They don't care, right? So we started our birding club. Our first event, I said it was going to be me and my kids out there. But guess what? 15 people showed up. And this was our very first event. And what you see are what? You see people of all walks of life. You see a lot of bird joy. And this was that proof of concept where I was like, wait a minute. People want this. This is important. And immediately when we started our club and created this first event, the then Madison Audubon reached out to us. They're now the Southern Wisconsin Bird Alliance. The Feminist Bird Club of Madison chapter reached out to us. They're like, what do y'all need? Do you need binoculars? Can we put this in our newsletter? Send it to all of our people and tell everybody that you're here? And like, that's community as well. So as soon as we decided to show up, people had our back. And that felt really, really good. And as we get together, we start every event and get people in circle. I say, hi, my name is Dexter Patterson. I use he, him pronouns. And we might ask some like fun question. What's your favorite bird? What do you want to hope to see today? What's your favorite thing to do outside? Whatever it might be, right? And I told my osprey story. Just like I just told y'all. I was kind of fired up, right? I kid y'all not. Within 10 minutes of we started this walk, guess what bird showed up? I got 15 witnesses. The osprey. Guess what it did? It came from the sky, it hit the water, and flew away holding a carp in front of our whole group. Guess who else was that emoji where your head blows up? That was it, folks. Like that day, after that, I was walking around like, you get an osprey, you get an osprey, you get an osprey, and you get an osprey. I'm the bird whisperer. I'm telling you that my chest ain't never been pumped out so far in my life. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I will tell you something. When we started our club, I wanted it to be different. We were very intentional on the way that we wanted to engage the community. And a lot of it was based off of my experience in a lot of these traditional white-dominated birding spaces. And I would show up and I noticed that a lot of these birding spaces were not very good at welcoming new birders that know nothing, right? I felt like when you showed up to some of these spaces, they just assumed you knew what they knew. And people didn't ask questions. I saw people make people feel like they're stupid, to put it simple. What do you mean you don't know that's a blue jay? What do you mean you don't know that's a northern cardinal? What do you mean you don't know that's a juvenile American robin because it has little spots on it? How do you not know that? Right? And to me, that was a problem. Because when you do that to people, do you think they're going to come back? They're going to be like, man, birding sucked. Those people? Oh, I can't even ask a question. So that was a big one. We are kid and family friendly. That was another thing that I saw. I didn't see a lot of kids around. And when I did, they weren't letting the kids be kids. Let kids be kids outside, right? I don't force birds on kids at my events. I'm making an outdoor experience where they just have fun outside and birds are a part of that experience, right? Because they're curious. Kids are super curious. So give them a little bit of agency over that experience. We encourage parents to bring their kids, grandparents, aunts, uncles, big brothers, sisters, it don't matter, right? Bring the kids because we need more baby birders. We need everybody to understand that nature is for them. Being outside is for them. They grow up in it. It's different. When you grow up in it, it's different. But we got to nurture those spaces for everybody. Accessibility and community is huge. It's huge. I talked about the story with the family, right, earlier that we had on the walk today. But we've also done events where maybe somebody can't walk. Powered wheelchairs. Fantastic. Another collaboration thing. We can reach out to the Southern Wisconsin Bird Alliance and say, can we get a powered wheelchair for an event, and they will make it happen. Literally had this happen when Christian Cooper came to Madison. I'll show you an example of that. But I always tell people, accessibility means, will you do something different for one person at your event? Yes. That should always be the answer, because one person can turn into 2 or 3 or 4 when you make it known that you are willing to cater to everybody's needs. Accessibility leads to growing a more inclusive community when you're proactively thinking about these type of things. We are relaxed and casual, folks. You will never hear me go, shh. Oh, shushers. Don't. I'm just going to move on. They get me fired up. Oh, I'm grown. Don't tell me to shh. We are relaxed and casual. We celebrate bird joy. We get excited when people see something new. We might even do a lifer dance on them, you know? We're going to clap for new birders. Every event, when we get in the circle, and I talked about that circle, every event I ask, are there any new birders in the house? Every event a hand goes up, or multiple. And guess what the entire group does, part of our community? We clap for them. We welcome them right away, right? We're like, hey, new birders in here. Baby birders could be kids or grown-ups. We just big kids anyway, right? We just big kids anyway. But we have fun. We have fun out there. I want people to come back. I want you to laugh. I want you to be able to let everything go. Birding should not feel so stuffy. It should not be a task. Am I doing this right? Can I talk? Can I get excited? I just saw an osprey snatch a fish out of the water and fly away. Can I say yay? That's how they make people feel. Not everybody. Some of y'all know some of these people, though. And it's all about collaboration. I think this festival really shows. I was talking to this couple back here about collaboration, people coming together for all these events. There's so much going on, right? And that's because multiple organizations are working together. San Diego Bird Alliance, so the SoCal Bird Nerds, the Natural History Museum, all of these different organizations working together for a common cause, right? Collaboration is the key forward. When people ask me all the time, Dexter, what's birding? What's a birder? How do I go birding? And I had the same questions when I first started, right? So I like to use the what I call the Wisco birder method. And the first thing I tell people is you do not need to be a pro. That's the first thing I want every single person to know about birding, whether you're new or experienced, because the birders that think they know everything are the worst birders. They just are. They just are. You will never know everything. Y'all just plopped me in the middle of Ramona today. I knew nothing. Shout out to the homies for pointing me out like, Dexter, you see that? Well, what is it? I don't know. Dexter's a bird expert. Yes, in Wisconsin. I'm walking around like, where's my Merlin? Right? You don't need to be a pro. And then the next thing, they're like, well, I can't never see no birds. I never see birds. Everybody's looking at it. I never see it. I say, look for the movement, right? And when I say look for the movement, don't tell people, you see that tree right there? There's a V and the leaf is going like this, and there's a shadow on it, and the bird's sitting right there. What? Top right of the tree. Just wait. It will move. Much easier, right? Much easier. Then I say listen for the music, because they make some beautiful sounds. You may hear it before you see it move. But now you got movement, you got sounds, you're starting to marry them together. Guess who's seeing more birds? You are, right? Have some fun. Remember, it's not always about the birds. I saw a ground squirrel today. Y'all hold on. Oh, I said, that's a big old lizard over there on the rock. It was so far away, okay? Give me some grace. I'm like, look at that big old lizard. They're like, Dexter, that's a ground squirrel. I said, we nicknaming the homie Lizard. So that ground squirrel is forever known as Lizard. And I got a picture of the little homie poking his little head over the rock. I will remember him forever. And it's not a bird, okay? We saw 2 coyotes. Yeah. Well, maybe more, see? We saw a lot. I met some amazing people. I got to celebrate lifers of other people. You would have thought that was my lifer, you know? Sometimes it's not about the birds, it's about the bird joy. I love using social media to make birding more accessible, so people can see themselves as a birder. They can say, oh, I could do that. I didn't know birding could be fun, right? I didn't know that. And when I first started going out birding, when I really started thinking about social media, it's what I do for a living. So I had the technical skills, but I wasn't sharing my bird joy with the world, right? So around COVID is when I started saying, maybe I should change that. Because I noticed a lot of people were struggling. But a lot of people were getting outside. People were buying binoculars, field guides, they skyrocketed the sales for it. People started birding. Probably one of the only good things that happened during the pandemic is people reconnected with nature a little bit, right? And I noticed that I would go on a hike and I would come home and I felt better. I was like, I got something here. It's like this magical elixir, and it's called birds and fresh air and vitamin D and running water. And I was like, I need to share this magic potion with more people. So I started making little videos. I'm like out on the trail, I'm like singing, dancing, and rapping in the woods and doing all type of fun stuff. And people loved it. And then the educator in me, I was like, well, Dex, you're seeing some really cool birds. Maybe you could take these people birding with you, right? And that's when I started saying, who wants to help me find the mountain bluebird? You ready? Let's go. It's the let's go that gets them. Let's go. So we started doing that. And I was like, it took off. I was like, this is it. It's the let's go. So I started pouring into that. I started taking people on my birding adventures. And I would single out certain birds, and I would show them the birds and teach them about habitats and behaviors, right? And I would always end the videos with a fun fact. You know how I end those videos with a fun fact? Why? Yes, but guess what else it does? It might turn you into the emoji where your head blows up. And guess who else is now researching birds like crazy? Guess who else is like, I gotta know what this bird is. I need to know about all the other birds, right? That is the goal there, is I want to have that feeling. And if you have that fun fact, maybe you remember that bird and you start to pay attention. That's the big reason. Then I started doing all these interviews and showing up on podcasts. And then all of a sudden in October of 2022, Jason and I get invited to this birding retreat organized by Christian Cooper and a couple other folks, Wendy Paulson, Latrice Sneed, shout out to them. And we spent 3 days together off the coast of Georgia birding. It was fantastic. This was the first time I actually got to meet Jason in real life, which was really cool because we connected via Black Birders Week on social media, and Jason was my roommate down there. So we really got to we really kind of hit it off, I was like, the homie is cool in real life. I like this guy. He's pretty cool. The last night we're there in Georgia, Christian, we're sitting in this old barn. It was really cool. And we're sitting in a circle, and the whole night we kind of been like strategizing, and people are like giving feedback on how we can help move the birding community forward. And he challenged all of us in that room that night. He said, do something. Connect with somebody in this room and do something to move the birding community forward. For Jason and I, it was the Bird Joy podcast. Hopefully we got some listeners in the room today for the Bird Joy podcast. Listen wherever you get your podcast. We dropped a new episode today. Every Friday when we're in season. But we really wanted to take this opportunity to use the podcast to help move the birding community forward. So every week we're interviewing Black and brown birders. We're interviewing Black and brown folks that are working in STEM, and we've expanded out. We're just interviewing people that are doing amazing work in the STEM field or supporting birds. And every Friday we drop a new episode when we're in season because we want to spread the bird joy. And that's what we focus on, Jason and I, when we're talking to these people. We focus on their work, but we focus on the joy of the work that they do and the joy that they bring people. So we're back for season 4. The next logical step for me to continue to grow the birding community, I wanted to write a book. And I wanted to write something that was meaningful on how I could grow the birding community or how I could show up for birders in a unique way. And one of the unique ways that I showed up is I'm the first black man to write a field guide dedicated to birds in the country. Whoop, whoop. This book also was built for my baby birders. It's built for everybody, but I thought about the baby birders first and foremost. That's my primary audience. I built this book for people. Look, I even put a goal on there for Jason. I wrote this book for people who may not know anything about birds or maybe just curious, right? So I wanted to make sure it was really easy to use. And as I was brainstorming and going through how I wanted to organize this, I said, you know what? I can make my bird IDs marry and match my You Ready, Let's Go videos. So it's very simple. Like I said, who wants to help me find this bird? You ready? Let's go. So I give you the common name of the bird. Then I show you the appearance. So I'm giving you different angles and how the bird looks, right? Same thing in the book. You get the appearance. I'm scanning the habitats. I'm teaching you about the habitats and where they like to hang out. Habitats, same thing in the book, right? Then I start talking about unique behaviors in the videos and showing you what to look for in these different habitats as you're learning how they look. Same thing in the book. You get the habitats. And I end every bird ID with a fun fact, right? So really, really kept it simple, and I wanted to make sure it was visual. Y'all know I had to give you an osprey. Come on now. What's funny though, this bird right here, this dude, Jason, you remember him? That's when we were in Georgia. Again, we did like intros. I told my favorite osprey story, right? We go birding the first day we're there. I'm telling you, this stuff is not made up. We go out and we're on this truck and we're riding through and they stop. They're like, Dexter, there's your osprey. That bird is literally from Georgia. He's literally staring right at us and it was the first bird we saw on the first birding trip in Georgia. The universe makes no mistakes, folks. But as you can see, right? Osprey, appearance, habitat, behaviors, fun fact. And a bunch of pictures. Loons, right? Same thing, right? I want to make it very, very simple. Yes, these are my pictures too. Over 97%, yeah, like 97% of the pictures in the book are mine. There were a couple where I'm like, nah, not good enough. So we sourced a couple. Butterbutts! I said butterbutt on the trail today and somebody looked at me like I was an alien. Y'all don't call them butterbutts out here? What is wrong with y'all? You do now, butterbutt. I don't call it a yellow-rumped warbler. I don't call it a myrtle. I call it a butterbutt. Butterbutt is much better. You're probably older than me. Events. We host monthly events in both Madison and Milwaukee, but we also do specialty events. So we've traveled to a national park, right? We've gone to Horicon Marsh, which is one of the largest fresh-tail, cattail marshes in North America, right? So we've gone to some of these special places. We do Black Birders Week. We celebrate that every year. I've started to branch off and now doing events in Illinois as well, which is really cool. So starting to grow that bird joy. And as you can see, now I get to go out with my groups and use my own book. It's kind of cool, It's kind of cool to be able to say, yeah, like, look at that. That's what we're seeing. That's my book. But we got the kids in the scopes. We do special outings as well. That picture right there at the top left, that is my daughter, Alyssa, when she actually held an American kestrel, because we do kestrel nest box monitoring, and she got to hold a kestrel and release it. What do you think that does to a young person? Right? You will never be the same. You see Proud Papa? I'm like, right? We host BIPOC only hikes as well. So you can see I got 40 black and brown people out on the trail. So we create these spaces for everybody in the community. And obviously I've been on tour for the book tour since October. This was in Rockford, Illinois last week. That's River, by the way. River is a birder, and she's very young, and she's really excited. Really happy to meet her dad. Found out that his brother, who was there, they catered the coffee and the hot chocolate for the event, and his brother is related to my barber for over 20 years. And they're also a Patterson, which was kind of cool. So fun stuff. Here's inclusive birding in action. Remember I talked about the powered wheelchair? In the middle is Christian Cooper. He came to Wisconsin. We had him there for 2 events. He wanted to go birding with people. And one of our members broke her foot. She's like, I really want to go birding with Christian. I got you. Right? Reached out to the Southern Wisconsin Bird Alliance. We got the powered wheelchair. We started a bunch of different programs. Our birding backpack program, our Bus to Nature program, I'll talk about them, but it was fueled by environmental justice and really wanted to show people that representation changes who feels safe in a space. When you show up and you don't see anybody that looks like you in the crowd, anybody that looks like you leading, you don't necessarily feel safe, right? So we got to remember that just because we grew up a certain way doesn't mean that experience is everybody else's experience. And we got to be cognizant of that. These safe spaces, when you create spaces where people can just be and not have to worry so much, it allows for some healing. It really does. And it can change the way that people view these outdoor spaces, right? It really does. And when more people love birds, the birds win. The birds win. The habitats that they live in win. Remember that environmental awareness. So the more people we can get to love the birds, the better. We have to continue to collaborate. I think especially now when I'm seeing all the funding being cut in science spaces, in outdoor spaces, in nature spaces, we have to collaborate. Because the people that collaborate, and you're kind of seeing that at this birding festival, I talked about that a little bit, the people that are collaborating are the ones that are winning. They are winning. We're able to show up for the community in a bigger way. We're able to scale the things that we do in a bigger way. We're able to think bigger when we collaborate because we get more ideas. Our ideas isn't always the best idea, right? So bringing people together, bringing more people, right? Table ain't big enough, get a new table. Or just eliminate the chairs as a whole, right? Let's just be together. But we got to do that. We got to do that. We partner with so many different people because we want to be able to show up for the community. They create fun learning opportunities in our club too. And this is something that I really want people, if you're leading programs and thinking about how can we engage the youth, we got to create fun learning opportunities for kids, whether it's youth birding clubs, after school activities for the youth, but it needs to be something where you don't just show up and disappear, right? Like if you're going to create something that has longevity for them, that they can rely on. Come to monthly, like they need. You can't just show up and go away, right? We need some consistency. What you see here on the left is Joy. At this time, during the time of this picture, Joy was 11 years old. Joy's blowing on a brood patch, folks. At 11, at a bird banding station. On the right side is Joy and my daughter Alyssa. They're literally helping band birds by themselves. Little brown girls, young. What do you think that does to these young girls. The confidence, right? They now know that birding is for them. Citizen science projects, as a scientist, folks, like bird banding stuff. We do Christmas bird count, the kestrel nest box monitoring, bald eagle nest monitoring. All of these things create really fun learning opportunities for people, including banding northern saw-whet owls. This night we did 11. We caught 11 birds this night. And it's really crazy because you start at like midnight and go till 3 in the morning. It's like, I'm crazy. I know. I'm like in rural Wisconsin, 2 hours away, right? We're done at 3 a.m. and I'm driving home, you know. Bird-related research projects, it connects people, again, to the environment around them. And what I found, especially during this bird banding stuff, when they learn about migration, when new people that don't know nothing about birds learn about this incredible migrations that these birds take. The butterbutt, 2 ounces, right? You're gonna travel thousands of miles and come back to the same place every year. It's so funny. Like, I was talking to people, and Jason and I have talked about this. We've talked about this on the podcast, is the amount of hope a bird can give you. When you think about what birds go through. Speaking of migration, right? This bird traveled to South America, Central America, and back. It's going through storms. It's evading predators and haters like the bald eagle. But it makes it. It makes it from South America to me all the way up in Wisconsin after going through all this turmoil, and it gets up on a branch and it sings. It sings. Think about that. Life is rough right now. Life is rough right now. You could turn on the news, you could see all the stuff that's going on right now, but you could go out and hear a bird sing. You could go out in nature and allow yourself to sing, right? So no matter what we're going through, they're there for us. These close encounters are so fun. So this is Loki the crow. Loki is a rehab bird, and guess what? Loki likes to paint. I know, it's crazy. You know what's so cool about Loki is so many people just say, oh, that's just a crow. Do not realize that crows are some of the smartest animals on the planet, right? So it's not just a crow. Crows can paint like Loki. Loki was hopping around. So imagine a group of about 25 of us sitting in a circle around Loki. And Loki's just hopping around. Grab another one, come back. Literally painted in front of us. What do y'all think happened to that group? Right? Literally emoji with their head blowing up. And at the end, what was so cool is they used Loki's paintings as like fundraising opportunities. One of our members there, her name's Christine, she's an art teacher. So I go over to the people, I'm like, can Christine have that? They're like, yes, Dexter. So at the end, we present her with Loki's painting after the event. She ugly cried. Like 2 weeks later, she brought her art class there. And they all got to see Loki and all the birds. I call birds windows to wonder. Do y'all see some wonder on that face? I'm telling you, if you hold a bird, you will never be the same. You hold a bird and release it, you are now the bird whisperer. You are now connected with something that can fly, right? It changes you forever. And engaging in the citizen science and all of these different things changes people. Because birds, one bird after another, that's why I call them windows to wonder, because it never stops. Like you literally just keep opening them and opening them and opening them and opening them, and they just keep bringing you joy. Our Busted Nature program, I wanted to make sure that we could bring that joy to kids on a regular basis. I was inspired by Jason, actually, in his Busted Nature program at In Color Birding Club in Philadelphia. Because every time I would talk to a community center, and these, especially in low-income neighborhoods, they would say, I would love to get our kids outside, but we can't afford it. We don't have transportation. If we get them now, how are we going to feed them? We don't have money to feed them. We don't have equipment. We don't have binoculars. We don't have field guides. We don't have people that can show us what we're seeing. And I was like, aha, we got you. So we launched, we applied for a bunch of grants and got some funding. We launched our Bus to Nature program, and I specifically wanted to focus on low-income neighborhoods where kids, especially in the summertime, have nothing to do. And what happens when kids don't have anything to do? Trouble. Wait, they get in trouble, or they start to feel like nobody sees them, nobody cares about them. Like, what? Why don't I have anything to do? They go back to school and all these kids are talking about all these field trips they went on. I didn't do nothing. We changed that. We started organizing field trips. This summer, I bused 6 different groups of kids from elementary all the way up to high school kids to Horicon Marsh. And I picked Horicon Marsh for a reason, because I wanted them to feel like they went somewhere special. They had to get on a bus and go like 45 minutes away. Oh, you know the yellow buses? Yeah. It's like work, you know? You show up, the kids, like, they put in some work. I was like, y'all made it. But you step off. I did the same thing to Jason. He ain't even a kid. We got the Horicon Marsh. Jason, he showed up in Wisconsin to see a kelp gull in Milwaukee. He literally got on a plane to see a gull. He about that life. So I was like, well, if you're coming to Wisconsin, I got to take you to Horicon Marsh and Culver's. So we get to Horicon Marsh, right? And we get out. And he's looking around. And with the kids, I swear it's like Lion King with the kids. They're like, Jason's like, dude, all of this is the marsh? The kid's like, all of this is a marsh? And I'm like, yes, everything. Everything your eyes can see is the marsh. Simba, there's a bird out there for you. But these kids, shout out to our DNR, they partner with us. Shout out to Knox Binoculars for providing me with binoculars for all these kids. But we show up, and I take them on a hike, and I let them run around. I let them be kids. 36 middle schoolers. I told you I had 4 daughters. I said, help. 36 middle schoolers? Help. That's really help. People are like, Dexter, how'd you pull that off? I said, I just let them be kids. Really, I do. I give them agency. So as we're going along, I'm hearing birds. I bird by ear. I'm seeing stuff. They're seeing stuff. And eventually, they start getting curious. And they start asking me, well, what you seeing? I said, well, you want to help me out? You want to be my helper? And that's when I'll pull out the Merlin app. And I will look at the kids. I will say, hey, if you hit this little record button, it will listen to all the birds we're hearing. And it will show you a picture of it. Oh, these kids like Pokemon Go. And it's funny, y'all know how kids are. When one kid gets something, all the other ones want it too. So now they all running around like, Mr. Patterson, what's this one? What's this one? What's this? Do your thing. Let's go. Now they're paying attention to birds. And then I say, hey, after we get done doing this little hike, I got some pizza for y'all. And they really get excited about that, right? But this is the end, folks. This is the end of our birding trip. That I literally took them on a 2-hour hike. They ate pizza. They got some cookies and soda. They wanted to do relay races after. I ain't playing. This is bird joy. Sis, look at this. These are kids having fun outside. They didn't put up a phone or look at a phone unless it was Merlin. They had fun. Guess who wants to do this again this summer? These kids, right? All right, I got to go back. Look, this one too. We even out in the rain. And they still having fun. I said, y'all sure you want to go outside? They're like, yes. I said, well, you're not going to melt. That's fine. They even came with ponchos. They were ready. Look at this. These are the high school kids. This is a really fun group, actually. This is a alternative high school called Operation Fresh Start. And it gives high school students and, it gives them options. And these groups of students here are learning conservation. They actually go into our local parks and pull out invasives. They do the work. Like these kids, I was telling them, I kept looking at them. I was like, y'all know that you work on some of my favorite places? I'm like, thank you, right? Like literally every single one of those kids, I'm like, thank you. This work that you're doing matters. It really matters. They were so fired up about this opportunity. We also bus our birding club members, our underground hiking collective members, to different places. So this place here is called Peace of Mind Acres. I took Jason here as well. A friend of ours named Christopher Kilgore runs an organization called Color in the Outdoors. He has a 92-acre property. Black man owns 92-acre property, has his own lake in the middle of it. It's insane how nice it is. I bust our people up to his property to go hike on private land. That's another thing that a lot of people don't get access to is private land. So being able to see somebody that looks like them with private land is something that is really cool too. This is us on the trail, his own trails, right? Organizing these type of field trips. Our birding backpack program was the next step where we're like, okay, transportation was something that kept coming up, equipment kept coming up, and I was like, all right, well, what can we do? So we started our Bus to Nature program, and I was like, well, I want them to not only to go out, but I want to leave them with something. So all the organizations that were busing to these different places, we left them with a birding backpack. So all these community centers have these backpacks. Then we said, what can we do next? We reach out to the Milwaukee Public Library. Milwaukee is the biggest city in Wisconsin. They have 13 different locations, and our backpacks are in all 13 of them right now. So we were able to do that. So more kids getting outside. Y'all see the backpack? It's an Osprey backpack. And shout out to Fontana Sports. It's a local woman-owned sporting goods company in my hometown. They donated the backpacks. We got 2 pair of Knox binoculars in there. We got bird guides in English and Spanish. Kaufman field guide. Shout out to Ken Kaufman and Kim. They sent me all these books to put in our backpacks for free, which was really cool. And he will be the keynote tomorrow, so I got to give him a big shout out. We also, whenever we give people these backpacks, we create this one sheet of our favorite places to go birding around them. So now they got it all. They got a big pair of binoculars, a small one. They got field guides. They got what they need to go birding. I want to leave y'all with these. I want to leave you with the fact that there are a lot of physical health benefits waiting for you outside. There's emotional and mental well-being waiting for you outside. There's connection to the natural world and the people around you waiting for you outside. Don't sleep on those community benefits. Don't sleep on being able to show up in a space that is already created for you to show up and make it better. Offer your ideas. Bring more people into the fold. Get involved with these educational opportunities, these citizen science things that I talked about. I guarantee that the San Diego Bird Alliance has stuff like this going on. I guarantee it. They do. And the future, do you want to be a part of a better future? Whether people realize it or not, our country's getting younger and is getting browner. We need to expand the people that love birds, right? Because we want to make sure that every generation after this and after this has these beautiful places to go and these birds to see. Because it is about the birds. It is about the birds. And what's so cool about birds is every one of these birds transports me back to a place and a memory, feelings, smells. Like, it's crazy. I could be like, oh, that tree right there, I saw this bird in 2023. And I'll go to that tree every time. He'll never show up again in that one. But I always remember the tree. It is. And the birds, right? Our eastern bluebirds are a little bluer than your westerns, but we don't have the orange on the back of an eastern bluebird. So that was kind of cool to see the difference between the two. But the mountain bluebird, woo-wee, that's another level. But the birds, folks, and I always tell people, our birding community should reflect and look like the birds we all love. Birds are of all different shapes, all different colors, all different abilities. Some are big, some are small, some are really fast, some are slow. Some can't even fly. That's people, right? That's us. And ultimately, when you pay attention to those birds, it's all about the bird joy. So this picture here, what you see here, this is Roman, and that's his sister Willa and his mom. Roman came to us when he was 6 years old, folks. He had a little backpack on, this little hat. He's like this tall now. It's crazy, by the way. But he shows up. He's 6. I want you to think about this. He has a notebook. He shows up to our spring migration, our warbler walk. Picnic Point, Madison, Wisconsin. He shows up holding a notebook, and he has a pencil. And he says, Mr. Dexter, I have 23 warblers I want to see today. On paper, folks, at 6. I'm like, this dude is an OG. I was afraid. I said, I must get 23 warblers today. It's peak migration, so I have a shot. I got him. Yeah. He got all 23. And it was so funny. We come to this one stretch on the trail, and he got like 15 of them in this one spot, right? And he called it, he said, this is like Warbler Alley. 4 years plus later, every time we go to that place and we walk by, there's Warbler Alley. He still calls it that 4 years later. That's Roman. So this is Black Birders Week, Black Birders Week in 2024. And we partner with a Raptor Rehab Center for this event. And Roman's favorite bird is the peregrine falcon. One of the birds they brought was the peregrine falcon. I ain't tell Roman, of course. But I knew they were about to open the box. So I stood over there with my camera. They opened up that box. Bird joy. This is Black Birders Week this year. Over 150 people at our local zoo. We fed everybody. They opened the zoo up private for us, which was really cool. We got to let out the flamingos. They came out. Gave them breakfast. We got to meet their macaw. We got a tawny frogmouth and their aviary, songbird garden. Like, it was like fantastic. Literally. And you see people of all white, babies and strollers, people in wheelchairs. We had it everything. My mom had just had knee surgery. She was in her wheelchair too. But bird joy. It's my daughter Victoria holding the chickadee-dee-dee. My daughter Alyssa with a blue jay. Zachary on the bottom with a female Baltimore Oriole. And I promise you, if you ever hold a chestnut-sided warbler, your life will never be the same. These are the type of things we do. Folks, what do you see in these pictures? What else? Diversity. What else? Smiles. If you showed up to a place like this and you saw all these people, yeah, black people, we go out in the snow too. They say we don't for some reason. But people don't do cold. Yes, we do. The picture on the left is my woodcock walk last year. Over 60 people. Ain't that crazy? Look at all that bird. We saw 12 woodcocks on this night. Ping! I want to leave y'all with this. I want to leave you with a call to bird joy. I want you to share your spark bird stories with people. Because when you do that, right, there's going to be some excitement in it. There's going to be some joy in that story. And there's going to be people that care about you that see how you're excited. And they're like, well, if they like birds, maybe I might like birds. Tell that spark bird story. I want you to invite somebody new to go birding with you. I know it's real easy to go with your same old people all the time, right? You got your birding buddies. I got a couple, right? But invite somebody new. Maybe it's a neighbor, a co-worker, a friend you haven't seen in a while. Brag them with coffee and then, psych, we're going hiking. Right? But do that. We need to grow the birding community. We need to grow it. And I want to leave you with this. Never hate on somebody's bird joy. Don't be what I like to call a joy jacker. You know, if I was out there today and there's people in San Diego, y'all see all these beautiful birds all the time, and I saw my first vermilion flycatcher. Oh, I know, right? There's people out there, though, that would say, oh, that's just a vermilion flycatcher. I saw 6 last week. So? Right? Hold that comment, right? Because you never know. You are jacking somebody's joy in that moment. I saw this happen at Biggest Week in American Birding with an eastern screech owl. And there was all these people that had never seen an eastern screech owl. And the dude literally said, I've seen like 10 this year. And I looked at, I'm like, but why? That's what, but in my mind, I'm like, why did he do that? What was the point, right? I don't get it. I don't get it. If you like birds, don't you want everybody to like birds? Yeah, like I don't get it. So never hate on somebody's bird joy. Thank you. Let's go. Delicious. Man, y'all got me fired up talking all this time. I got some time for y'all. Anybody have any questions? Question was, when I saw the osprey come up, was I amazed when he turned the fish? 100%. Like, I couldn't believe that they're built for that. Like, I didn't know, like, it's just like, pew, gone. I think what I was more amazed with was the little shimmy when he knocked all the water off of him. I was like, this dude is too cool. Oh, it was a male. It was the male. Yeah, bright male. Was it a male or a female vermilion flycatcher? It was the male. Yeah. There was probably a female out there. She's not as bright, so they were out in the grasslands a bit. But yeah, that was great.
Why are females not as
Because they hold all the cards. Like, the male's got to do all the work, and they got to impress her. She's like, your Mountain Blue ain't doing it for me today, Dex. What about this? What about this? But yeah, the reason they do that, they're very selective, right? They're very selective. They wanna pick the brightest and most vibrant male because they want to protect their bloodline. I love looking at wood ducks and seeing the wood duck is the brightest duck in North America, but the female wood duck is absolutely beautiful too. But that's how they protect their bloodline. They're very choosy. Choosy lover. No, I'm sorry. Dating myself in here. Any other questions? Yeah. Most of my work, yes. So he asks, is most of my work in Wisconsin or in California? Definitely in Wisconsin. So I'm based in Madison, Wisconsin. I do most of my work there. And we're starting to branch off into Illinois right now, but I've been on the road going to a lot of different places over this last 2 years, actually. Me too, man. Me too. San Diego's been fantastic. My wife always says she wants to move here, so Any other questions? 100%. She talked about how can we advocate more, right, for misunderstood birds like crows or pigeons. Man, we were talking to somebody on the Birdjoy podcast last week, Divya Anatharaman. She's a taxidermist in New York City. She's like the premier taxidermist in New York City, and she talks about the pigeon and how when you actually spend time and you look at a pigeon, whoa, right? You look at a rock pigeon, you see those iridescent colors and all that. It changes the way that you see these birds. And she talked about how she had a class and they were working on pigeon skins, and they were actually pigeons from New York City. And this woman said, no way, that's a pigeon. She couldn't believe it because she was seeing it up close for the first time and seeing all the colors and stuff. And it literally changed her life. So I always say that, you know, people might talk bad about red-winged blackbirds, right? Especially during the mating season when they're like dive bombing people. And I always say, you'd be crazy too if you had to maintain 9 different households and spouses. They're crazy, and rightfully so, right? I couldn't even imagine. I go crazy with one. So, any other questions? Whoa. We saw 2 today on our way back in from Ramona, but that'd be crazy to see that many. Flamingos. We had flamingos come to Wisconsin as well. So it was after one of the hurricanes where the flamingos got scattered all over the country. We had 6 of them show up in Wisconsin. So she asked what was my favorite bird out of place story, and hers was flamingo. Mine is too. We had American flamingos literally show up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. My Milwaukee club leader, Rita, texted me. She said, Dexter, there are 6 flamingos in Milwaukee right now. I'm like, why y'all playing with me like this? I was like, there's no way this is real. I was like, man. Next thing you know, it's like bing, 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 bing. Like I see more text messages. And I was like, this is real. There are flamingos here. I don't chase bird. I chase that one. I got some fantastic pictures of them too. We collaborate. Yes, this is a great question. She says, have we ever considered using community scientists instead of using citizen scientists? And yes, we do that. We actually, usually when we're doing citizen science projects, we're partnering with an actual scientist that can help us make sure we get the most out of that. So it is like every time we do that, we're partnering with actual scientists. Yes, but that's how we frame it to our members. They're citizens coming in to do the citizen science work, but we're being led by actual scientists when we do that. So like the bird banding is a master bird bander with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and you know the nest box monitoring. All of that is being led by somebody who does that research, who does that work. We just show up and take a part in it. That makes me so happy. I see a hand up here and here too. Oh, I see what you're saying. More of like Is that what you're talking about? Okay, gotcha. I like that. That's something to consider, for sure. Make it more inclusive. Both, actually. Part of it, too, is when we started our club was breaking down. A lot of people fear what they don't understand. So a lot of times, even people in our community that haven't had those experiences, they don't know how to go out in the cold and like not get super cold and they can enjoy it. So we're making sure that we're educating people in our community about, all right, this is how you can get outside and do that. But also I hear it outside, the outside noise and perception of people just assuming that we don't do these things. So it is kind of a combination of both, but within the community, I found that when we meet them where they are and tell them, hey, this is what we're going to do, and we give them everything that they need to be able to show up and be comfortable and safe, that they show up, right? And they trust us as leaders to take care of them. So it is actually, it's both. It's definitely both. I hope so. Ask Travis. One more. Anybody? We good? Philadelphia. Well, actually, born in SoCal. Pasadena born, now he's in Philadelphia. You gotta go back home too. That's it? All right. Thank you so much, y'all. I will be going out to the gift shop. So those of you that got books or want to grab one, want to chat, get an autograph on the book, I will be out there. So thank you so much.